I forgot that we could control with a keyboard and mouse. I don't know what map we're on. We're in Sredmicha. Where is... That's the carriage, Szulski, tenement house. All of these are locked, I think. But we don't know if there's stuff around, so let's do some light investigation work as we just walk around and look for, like, leaflets and stuff. They may cut off one of my fingers, but I'd still eat another donut. Hell yeah, brother, me too. I'm deeply excited about this weird game. Oh shit, this is Russian. Is this Polish written in in Cyrillic though? Masterskaya. Mushkog. I don't know this word. Garderova. I can't read this. Okay, there we go. Frayuj. Costume. Palto. Garnituri fraki. Prasconia. Garderovi meskieg. I don't speak Polish, and I can only read Russian at like a first grade level, so I don't know what most of these words mean. Interesting. But it is Russian and Polish. It's not Polish written in Russian, I don't think. Or Cyrillic, I should say. If only I could read. Another ticket. 1 Ordnyaka Street at the corner of 2 Okolnik. Entry ticket for the show at September 4th. 40 kopecks. Is that what that said? Is that did I read that? Yeah, kopecks. Okay. Oh, we have a level up. Very nice. I do want this reaction. This seems really good, though. We have all of these leveled up pretty much as we possibly can right now. So let's grab this. No, let's wait. Let's hold on to our character points in case we unlock the new demon. Or the new salutor. Salutor. Okay, there's nothing new. Again, this whole area is locked down. I am very impressed by how many areas there seem to be. Can't tell if this game has frame pacing issues or if this is just like a weird thing. Like a weird thing with the way the character is moving and like the camera's not keeping up. It's making me a little bit motion sick. I might need to pause and look into that real quick. That shouldn't be too big of a deal to fix. I'll just use Riva Tuner to fix it, but... Okay, we ironed out the performance settings a little bit. Should be a little bit better. There doesn't seem to be a VSync option, which is a little interesting. If only I could read. Is there anything around here to collect, like, notes or anything? We did find that ticket, which makes me think there might be stuff, but we have pretty much explored the area. It's over here. I like this atmosphere. The atmosphere of this place is really cool. Definitely dig that. Anyone here with anything cool to interact with? No? What's that joint that's only for the people who knew where it is? It wasn't bleeding yesterday. Advertisement poster. The Pathé new phonograph reproduces singing music and declamation more cleanly, clearly, and subtly than most expensive gramophones. It does not hum, and the needle will last for many years without having to be replaced for 32 rubles. Extremely popular among music lovers. If stock runs out, we will accept reservations for the next shipment. Songs from operas and operettas, church songs, declamations, waltzes, polkas, and marches. Main storage of Pathé new phonographs. Adam Klimkevich, Warsaw, 14 Leszno. Okay, we got experience for that. That kicks ass. Brochure. Dr. Campbell's Safe Arsenic Soap. Removes freckles and red spots, giving a soft matte whiteness to the complexion. It can even handle a strong tan. The Secret of Radiant Skin. You will find it in all major drugstores and perfumeries. The main store is in Warsaw in F. Zamenhof Pharmacy. Zamenhof, that's interesting. Zamenhof is the name of the guy who made Esperanto, I think. And he was Polish. 8 Iron Gate Square. Pay attention to the brand and signature. I think his name was something L. Zamenhof, I think. Someone should look that up for me and check so that I don't sound like a fool. But I think that's what it is. Bask is here. Hey, Bask. Welcome.
Young Mr. Szulski, after all these years, goodness gracious, you're drenched!
Good evening, Grażynka.
Evening. My, you're soaked. Come to the kitchen now. You can warm up by the stove. And that drunken judge, maybe you can drag him out too.
Where's my sister?
In the study, already waiting with the lawyer. She said you were running late. Should I make you some cocoa, master? It would warm you up a little.
Make cocoa for Lygia, sure.
Make an extra creamy one for Lygia.
Oh, I won't skimp on her. Now, your sister's putting a brave face on all this, but she's really having a hard time. It's lovely to see you again. But that's enough jabber for now. I've got the guests and the cocoa, and I've got to whip up some food for you all later. We'll talk soon.
Slag says Esperanto was made by Lesjar Ludwig Zamenhof. Yes, that's the right name. That is correct. People won't know what I'm talking about on the VOD, but the fact that it plays my alerts twice is weird. I don't know why it does that. Father's portrait. The portrait depicts father in his twilight years. The serious expression on his face, the proud posture, and the grimoire in his hand, combined with the dark background and lack of embellishments, it all reflects the strictness and pragmatism he always had. Good old Stanislaw. However, a faint red streak can be seen around his figure. Apparently, artists are particularly sensitive to seeing things that usually escape the human eye. This one should receive double emolument for capturing the thaumaturgic aura. Wow. It is so mysterious. So many mysteries. Alright, I don't want to talk to anyone yet. I want to collect all the goodies to get the massive amount of experience. The Warsaw Courier. Evening Extra. Extra. Here is the latest news on the riots that disrupted His Majesty Emperor Nikolai II's speech today. A moment after our gracious emperor announced Georgi Skalon as the new Governor-General of Warsaw, a group of troublemakers started yelling most disgraceful slogans. Despite reinforced security, there was a scuffle. The gendarmerie were quick to get the situation under control. However... That was the wrong however. The gendarmerie were quick to get the situation under control, however. A few people were injured, including 2 policemen who came to help. 30 people charged with public nuisance and brawling were taken into custody. Interesting, they ended up arresting everyone anyway, even though we pointed them to the leader. 365 dinner recipes for 5 zlotys by Lucina C. Capon or pullet with sausages. Clean and pluck with the capon with while warm. Burn off the remaining feathers and knots over the fire. I don't know what a capon is. Is that just a kind of bird? Slice off the giblets to add them to the broth. Rinse, salt throughout, and roast on a spit while coating with butter. When finishing roasting, put a large spoonful of sausage butter inside. Sprinkle the top with breadcrumbs, douse it in liquid butter, and fry in the pan. If you don't have sausages, a piece of butter with pepper will do. You can also put the sausage butter in the capon once it's on the platter. Voronin is right there. Grażyna's liquor recipe. Quince liqueur with amber. Pour a pot of ripe, duly picked quince fruits into a 4-gallon demijohn and pour in a light cooled syrup with 6 pounds of sugar and 2 gallons of water. Add 10 pieces of amber, stir perfectly, and add half a gallon of your best spirit. Seal and place in a moderately warm place out of the sun for 10 days, stirring several times per day, shaking the demijohn. After 10 to 12 days, when the clumps have sunk and the liquid is completely clear, pour into bottles, cork tightly, and keep in a cool, dry cellar. Bust of Morana. The stern countenance resembles that of a human, but the callous gaze shows no trace of human emotions. The Queen of Winter scrutinizes you, sending a shiver down your spine. It makes me think of the words, if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. All right, we are here. Was this where we entered? We entered in right here, I think. Let's go out to the garden real quick. We have guests outside sitting in the rain. Even during a funeral, that's a little dour. Gave some money for the morning service. Hope he doesn't drone on. I think it was on the left, or was it on the right? Where is this grave? Shame about the kids, though. Who are they talking about? Us? Na 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 na. Another round.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again. I already failed to recognize someone once today. But you look familiar.
Well, I should think so. I was the victim of one of your starling hunts.
Huh.
Voronins must not be very memorable, cousin.
Pietya, forgive me, and for shooting you as well. How are you doing?
Just some heart problems, not a subject for today. I'm sorry about Uncle Stanislav. Forgive me for not coming to the funeral. I can't bear cemeteries.
We'll have to meet up again.
Goodbye.
Oh, wow. Just... that interaction just ends. Interesting. Go to the father's study for the reading of the will. Okay, so there's a few other places we can go and explore. As long as we don't go into the study, we'll be fine. Let's check the Voronin.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I thought I'd have to drink alone.
So many goodies laid out for the guests. Having trouble picking something for yourself, Judge?
But this was Stasios. It was special. Amber liqueur with quinces.
I think you mean quince liqueur with amber, right? If it's not here, I'm sure it's in the basement. But I won't grope around down there in the dark now. I've got my hands full.
Now, I don't want to trouble you either. Wiktor, could you track down a little bottle for your uncle?
I suppose I'm obligated to accept this mission.
Good lad. A nephew like you is a treasure. How did it go? Mission accomplished?
You'll have to wait a moment yet, Uncle.
The scene transitions are still very weird. They just kind of happen, and I don't know why. Like, they happen a little bit too early every single time. Man, this game does look pretty good, though. Look at this. The Lumen tech is so great. That's Unreal 5's, like... I don't know if it's ray tracing or just path simulation, but it looks really fucking good. It's got to be ray traced. There's got to be a reason why my performance tanks when I touch it, right? Just change it to screen space so that you guys can see, but like, Look how much less reactive this light is. Look at this. It's all just screen space reflections, and you're not getting the obliques. Like, let's see if I can show it. Back to Lumen. You can see it here. I mean, obviously it's a little bit shaded, but like where the light wouldn't bounce. Look how much better this looks. Look how much more realistic this is with these highlights. So you have the sharp light reflecting off the ground, and then this space over here where the light would have to curve better to hit. And then you go like here. So again, disabling Lumen and just going back to screen space. This is only able to reflect light that's in the screen. So you get these artifacts where this looks weirdly lit, and then this area is way brighter than it was. So it's not actually simulating the correct level of light, which is kind of neat. That's how these graphics options work on like a high level. I'm sure there are going to be pedants in the comments that explain better than I could, but it's really neat. Really neat. Let's see what this looks like at like super. Oh my god, there's a Steam Deck option for quality. That's funny. Let's just go to ultra quality really quick, just so that quality, just so that we can see. Like, look at the level of fidelity here. Now, granted, probably not necessary. This level of fidelity is probably not necessary in a game like this, and it definitely makes the game chug quite a bit. The performance in this game is a little weird. Let's look at it. Yeah, under 60 if you look up here above my minimap. That's my frame rate counter. So this game can definitely be demanding, and you get weird stuff over here, like when you're moving, even with the Lumen enabled. Weird little artifacting. But yeah, for an indie game like this, the graphics aren't bad. There's a lot more, there's much more options than I would expect for this. Leave Lumen on, put it to performance, and we should get, yeah, pretty solid frame rates. Wow, that's dipping. That's pretty brutal. Maybe we'll edit that real quick. Turn that back on. How does it look if we put it to ultra performance, huh? Doesn't seem to affect. Oh, you know what? The frame rate drops might just be characters loading in. It might not be the actual performance of the game. Because if I put this back up to quality, or even if I no scaling, let's see what this does to my frame rate. 42, 43. Yeah, so it's not too impactful. Don't need frame generation. I don't know why VSync is automatically disabled here. That's a little bit odd. But yeah. Frame rate gonna dip. Yeah, so the lumen setting is the thing that's really tanking our performance. So maybe they'll patch that, make it a little bit better. Who can say? I don't know. Kind of interesting. I like that kind of thing. I like it when games like this even will get, you know, like cool graphical options and stuff. Just push the tech forward a little bit. Mother's portrait. A portrait of Mother from her youth. She stands proud, wearing a white dress and a silk scarf thrown over her exposed shoulders. Her long, dark hair flows down her back. She glances at the viewer with a piercing smile. Bare skin and a frivolous hairstyle. That's not how I remembered her. Nadia as a young, unkempt maiden. It's hard to believe. This shocking vision of the painter must have been created in a previous era. A time when hearts were stirred with violent emotions. Poems were created to the sound of a storm. Love stories had to end tragically, etc., etc. Father actually commissioned such a painting? It's kind of cool. Like, I mean, I like the vibe that this captures of like being at one's father's funeral and stuff, and like you're learning things about them at the same time of like also trying to have to get over your own memories of them and meeting all your relatives and stuff. It's very neat. Just reading over the description again, it's pretty cool. So his mother's name is Nadia, I guess, is what we learned. Ooh, yeah, we got traces in here too. Sauvignon de Bordeaux, a bottle of white wine from southern France, an expensive beverage popular among the aristocracy. The wine carries the aroma of peaches, apples, and a certain amount of conviction that a relationship between two people is beginning to take on a romantic edge. Beverage enjoyed by the upper crust, given to a man by a woman. Familiar, mysterious woman. Okay, so wherever there are particles, it means that we have to coalesce something. Pinot Noir from Oregon. A bottle of red wine from the United States, hard to get. An inability to articulate, brought on by great surprise, clings to the bottle. It was difficult to mouth even a word of gratitude for the unique gift. Words got stuck in the throat despite adoration for this particular liquor. It is a favorite beverage, but an unwelcome gift. Oh, the prose in this game is so good. The prose in this game is so good. Quince liqueur with amber. A small bottle of quince liqueur with amber, a beverage for true connoisseurs. The bottle exudes the sweet aroma of quince and the sincere joy of an upcoming meeting. And typo. It is a beverage that brings people together and sweetens the bitterness of everyday life, an element of a ritual that two old friends would eagerly indulge in. Voronin's bottle. Every bottle found in the Szulski's cellar contains a creditable beverage. Uncle Voronin wouldn't disregard any of them. Alright, I think we got everything down here. I wonder what this place looks like with the lumen on, just to check. I want to see the prettiness. Lumen. Yeah, so see, you can see the halo of the light as you get closer to the ground as well. Pulls it back a little bit. A little bit more realistic in the lighting the closer you get. So it's going to be rendered on a camera angle basis, but still kind of cool.
How did it go? Mission accomplished?
I think this is the one Uncle wanted.
Yes. This is our little funeral battle. We would meet in Stasia's study after every funeral we went to, and raise a toast to the dead. And recently, we've been seeing one another more and more at such events. More and more. But this time, even he has left me. So, to an easy death, as Stasia and I used to say.
How did he die?
Hasn't Lygia told you?
I haven't even had the chance to ask.
He didn't suffer, but such images in the memory are better saved for later. I'd prefer to remember him as he was alive. What then? Am I drinking alone? Familiar faces keep vanishing from my life. Stasia and my Helena before him. I miss my little darling. I miss them both. Well, obligation fulfilled. Shall we get to the reading of the will?
At the funeral, there was this sad Jewish fellow, Mordechai Hayat. Do you know him, Uncle?
He worked for Stanisław, but that was a long time ago. I don't know him more than that. So, shall we collect our inheritance?
You'll all have to wait for me a moment yet.
All right, but hurry up.
Just make sure that there aren't any other little side quests to do around here. Bust of Cyrene. Sharp avian features bear a wild, disturbing kind of beauty. They make you want to fall into her clutches and be lulled into an eternal dream by her sweet song. Yet, her cryptic, slight smile makes a subconscious, primal part of your being cower away from the predator. But isn't a soul the only fair price for the bliss of giving yourself up to that enchanting creature? I thought this was a secret bookcase, and I was like, holy fuck. Get changed? Costumes! Proud arabesques. Glitz is not enough. A silk vest and velvet foulard can express certain things that are not appropriately said aloud, such as the owner's checkbook size or the fact that their bills are paid by their sister. That's funny. I like the arabesques ones. Threadbare vanity, linen trousers, versatile style. Discreet magic of wealth. They're just kind of recolors, that's fine. Kashmiri sheep's wool without the undercoat, blended with cotton and silk, made to measure and hand wash, but never by the garment's owner. This is the true definition of wealth. Weaves of arrogance. Leather elements counterbalance the classic design, adding a touch of audacity. Guilty of luxury. The color of fine wine, a stately black paired with discreet leather lining. We know who will be the style icon among Warsaw high society. It was very aggressive. So this is our bedroom. Serious photo. Straight black backs, stern expressions, noses in the air. Two boys that are just trying to meet everyone's expectations. Something went wrong here. Forbidden love. It's like 70s boarding school shoujo. Pseudomonarchia demonium. Compared to Crowley's Ars Goetia, there are 3 fewer demons. No evidence that all demons are salutors. Bathum, a false lead. Pucelle, a false lead. Anton claims to have subjugated Orobus. Mere boasting. This is Anton LaVey, maybe? Or not, not LaVey. There's another Anton. What the hell is his name? Famous exorcist. Marcosius. Expect it to take on the form of a wolf with the wings of a griffin and the tail of a snake. According to Desplantes, he takes the form of a wild lioness. Interesting observation by Crowley. Demons are unexplored fragments of our minds. However, in appearance, it resembles an ox with wings. A lead for Sabnok unknown. That's good toilet reading. Message from Mother. Dear child, stop. It is with great sorrow that I have received the news of Stanislav's death. Stop. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the funeral ceremony. Stop. My duties in Paris keep me from traveling to Warsaw at this time. Stop. I join you both in mourning and sorrow. Stop. Mama. Duties in Paris, that's rich. Hard to expect anything else coming from you. Yeah, he doesn't like his mother. Is she also an exorcist of some kind? My letter from Rome, July 1896. Dear sister, I'm writing to you because sleep eludes me. As I wrote before, I've found a suitable candidate. However, I'm still struggling to reach his flaw. I feel that Paimon is within my reach. I even saw him vaguely, but I did. I'll stop here because my nerves prevent me from continuing. Wiktor. Yes, I will be careful. Don't think me a fool like father. My letter from Paris, November 1896. Sister of mine, I feel well enough to write something to you. The doctor also recommended I do so. I'm not alone in my anguish. I share a room with one Rayford Morton, whose last name escapes me. They brought him from London, from Dr. Seward's clinic. Why is that name familiar? Is that a literary person? A very interesting case. He spends his days hunting for the moths, cockroaches, ladybugs, and beetles that come here sometimes. He eats them. He says it gives him strength to wait for the coming of the Lord. Sam Bam says Dr. Seward was from Dracula. That's what I thought. But Dracula takes place... I thought Dracula took place earlier than this. I don't know. But I don't think he means the savior. I cannot yet reconstruct all the details after the debacle with Paimon. Did he... Morton, is this... Yeah, this is him talking about... Does this game take place in the same universe as goddamn Dracula? Because this is, I think, a Dracula thrall. Yeah, Dracula thrall. Huh. Sam Bam, thank you, ma'am, says, what time was this? This game takes place in 1905. Dracula was written in 1897. This takes place in 1896. Interesting. So yeah, I guess this might be just a joke that this universe is the same universe that Dracula takes place in. It probably happened only in my mind, but it was so clear. He, as the king of hell, with his host of demons, with the shadows of his penitents, called for me to join them. It was so real. I'll stop here. I'm having a hard time gathering my thoughts. Wiktor. The Polish Gazette Evening Edition. Obituaries. Why are these highlighted? Interesting. At the cemetery in Montmorency on Sunday, the body of the distinguished writer and citizen, the late Swierina Duchinska, was laid to rest. A handful of compatriots escorted the coffin amidst the pouring rain. The funeral service was modest. In accordance with the wishes of the deceased, the sums allocated for wreaths were deposited in the coffers of the Claudia Potocka Charitable Society. Stanislav Szulski, entrepreneur, age 63. M. Tijka. The company arranges funerals, exhumations, and the transportation of corpses, a factory warehouse of metal and wooden coffins, mourning hats, crepe paper, and a vast selection of items used in the time of mourning. Alright, so we got 3 points to use once we get Paimon. That'll be very helpful. Because it seems like this is all leading up to Paimon. Again, we want to use our perception. Figure out if there's any good things around here to interact with, because I don't want to get locked out of experience or clues like last time. Stanislav's last will. My last will, written down in the year of our Lord 1888, in the name of Holy Trinity, Amen. It is my first and irrevocable will that my daughter Ligia Szulska, the appointed executrix of this will, immediately following my death, let an inventory be taken and all my personal movables be sold by public auction. Let the money so be collected be offered to beggars at the cemetery. Everything related to the family business I entrust into the custody of my daughter. I do not attribute the manner of administration to her. I only wish that the business be small, not risky, and honest as I had run it. To my friend Alexander Voronin, I wish to leave a collection of muskets and 2 revolvers dating back to the uprising, to our first meeting. And I wish to aid my son Wiktor and entrust my grimoire to him, hoping that he will be able to make good use of it. This is my last will. Carry it out sacredly, even if it seems burdensome to you. Interesting interaction there. Szulski family portrait. Entry added Balberith. I can remember when it was taken. The year was 1884, and Ligia and I were 9 years old at the time. She was clearly tense, and I remember how Mother admonished her not to smile, not to fidget, and to stand straight. Ligia was to take cue from her. Mother was able to freeze like a statue and sit there barely breathing for a couple of hours. I, on the other hand, posing nonchalantly, was always more unrestrained than my sister. I could get away with more. Behind us, our father, the head of the family, one hand resting patronizingly on the back of the chaise lounge, asserting his ownership, the other holding a grimoire, the black grimoire. Behind father, a shadow, as if a shape was emerging and forming, indicating another presence. That's Balberith. The family is complete. Balberith. My father's first salutor, probably not the only one, a perfect match. An ancient idol mentioned in the Book of Judges, secretive by nature, keeper of vegetation and master of insects that he can command in order to protect people from diseases. According to Ars Goetia, Balberith belongs to the circle of greater demons, just like father. The flaws that attract him are, much like with Upur, those related to the heart dimension and the sensations of the heart. So this must be the second evolution of the heart. Pride, blasphemy, contentiousness, but also consistency, stubbornness, and ambitions. Balberith is gone. He left with with my father. Where? We do not know what happens to salutors after a thaumaturge's death. Perhaps they become wild again, unhindered by the pact with their master. But the flaw that used to tether them is gone, so maybe they vanish into the void too. Spooky. Let's go back downstairs and make sure we don't have anyone else to talk to. That's the way we went. The garden's outside. Ooh, have some liqueur. Liqueur is not alcohol. It is more of a tincture, in fact. Yes, a medicine. And since life is the most common fatal disease, well, to our health then. Ah, we got a cool drawing here. I like that. Such is life, short. And it gave us experience. All right, cool. We got everything we were looking for. I don't think there's anything else. Let's go upstairs. Read the will. Even though we technically already read it.
I am ready, Mr. Szulski. I only need all of you to be present. Can we start reading your father's will?
Yes, let his will be done. Again.
Let's begin if everyone is ready. Would you all please take a seat? Ladies and gentlemen, by the power of my office vested in me by the grace of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of all Russia, I hereby testify...
He sounds so bored.
Mr. Szulski's last will and testament were prepared several years ago in the presence of Zaslav Fedorov, Esquire, that is, myself. My last will and testament recorded in the year of our Lord 1888. In the name of the Holy Trinity. Amen.
Amen. Interesting way of phrasing that.
Therefore, my first irrevocable wish is to appoint as executrix of this will my daughter, Ligia Szulska. Immediately after my death, an inventory shall be conducted in full accordance with the law. After completing the inventory, all my personal movables will be sold at public auction. And let the funds raised thereby be donated on the anniversary of my death to the beggars near that cemetery. The administration of the remainder of my fortune I leave, without restriction, to the person of my daughter Ligia.
I'm not even getting a teaspoon.
All movables and immovables relating to the family enterprise I entrust to the care and administration of my daughter. I do not prescribe a method of administering them. I merely offer her one piece of advice. I wish that the business should be conducted with modesty, prudence, and honesty, as I have conducted it my whole life.
A joker to the very end.
To my brother-in-law and oldest friend, Alexander Voronin, I wish to leave the following. My collection of muskets and 2 revolvers, dating to the uprising in memory of our first meeting.
Stasio, I will have plenty to do in my retirement.
Enjoy your retirement. Now, Mr. Fedorov, what did my father leave my mother?
Wiktor, be serious.
Nothing. There is a special item reflecting the absolute lack of any bequest to my former spouse, Nadia Fyodorovna Voronina.
She married Voronin? Or is she Voronin's sister?
I would also like to come to the aid of my only son, Wiktor Szulski, by entrusting him with the use of my personal black grimoire, in the hope that he will be able to make good use of it. This is my last will and testament. Carry it out solemnly, though you may have found it burdensome. However, this last bequest poses a certain problem.
Yes, it certainly does. And what is that, may I ask?
I am not in possession of this grimoire. The late Mr. Szulski used it up until his death, yet no one left it with me after his passing.
Meaning it's disappeared? Did Father have his grimoire on him at the time of his death?
It was only because of the grimoire that we could identify him at all.
What actually happened? How did he die?
A building collapsed on top of him. I don't know any other way of putting it.
A building? It collapsed on top of him? How? How did this happen?
It was a day like any other. Papa had gone for his habitual walk. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he'd take a stroll to get some space, as he put it. When he didn't come back for a long time, I got the bad feeling something had happened. Then...
We rode there together. An entire wall of a tenement had collapsed. There were 3 victims, including Stasio, who had the bad luck to simply be walking by. To see him there in that condition, it's beyond description.
The grimoire. Could someone have taken it?
Perhaps, in all that confusion.
But why would anyone want Papa's grimoire? An ordinary person won't use it. Would the Thaumaturge just happen to be passing by?
Father had all his knowledge in there, but I don't know if it would be useful to someone other than him. I don't even know why he left it to me.
I'm sure Stasio had a reason.
Where did it happen? Where was this building?
The southern part of Śródmieście, not far from the police station. Anyway, you can miss it.
Of all the possibilities, this was the death that fate prepared for him.
I foresaw a slightly more pleasant end for him, myself. I doubt even he deserved such a horrible death.
Those might be the kindest words you've ever said on the subject of a father.
How typical of his sort of person, to keep a portrait in his study of a family that was only a family on canvas. Not long after the painting was done, he got divorced, ruined the Niedzicas, and kicked out his son. But there the portrait hangs, as if family meant anything at all.
I don't know what exactly happened with Abauritse, but I know that Papa felt guilty. You don't want to forgive him even now that he's gone?
The dead need no forgiving. And as for forgetting, I don't know how. It's just a shame about the grimoire.
What do you intend to do?
And Mordechai Chayat, could that be a lead?
I don't think so. He worked with Father, but he left more than a year ago. I don't know why. He was an assistant at my store.
Do you know where I might find him?
Sadly, no.
He's interesting.
Do you have any other ideas?
He's the big lead for me, is figuring out what his deal is.
I think we have to look for the answer in the place where it happened.
With your sight, you can make out more in those ruins than I, or Uncle, or Detective could. This is a good lead, but is it the only one?
And where are Father's things at the moment?
You're standing at the very center of his kingdom. Not everything has been sorted through yet, but you go right ahead.
And the store? I should check that too.
I've started stock-taking there to distract myself, and I don't want you to go in there before I've finished.
As you wish.
The pace of the voice acting in this game is profoundly bizarre and interesting. It's very odd sounding, but kind of quaint.
Father evidently knew a certain Ivan Konieczkin. Have you heard anything about him?
Konieczkin? No, doesn't ring a bell.
All sorts of people came to Papa's store. That doesn't mean every one of them might know something about the grimoire.
That's true. You've got your work cut out for you.
Now at least I can see how little I know. Maybe these scraps of information will lead me somewhere.
Well, now that we know what's got to be figured out, forgive me, my darlings. I'm going to give my old bones a rest.
I'll see you out.
Goodbye, Uncle. And, Ligia. I'm sorry it happened this way. That I wasn't close by.
The most important thing is you're here now.
I do like his relationship with Ligia. It's kind of interesting. Oh, and Upori's here.